you're going to have to put in around 200 dials minimum to get around 10 contacts. I've been here for a year. I killed it last year. And I think, honestly, I could do this if I just see it done. And then I see it done and I'm like, is this really all?
Thanks for joining us this week on the Elite Sales Podcast. I'm very happy to join in the studio this week by John Bacaron, co-host.
What's going on?
We have Misha Elias, who's not present, but he should be coming shortly. We also have a couple guests joining us remotely. You know, we got Oscar Gomez going over his first annuity sale.
Hey.
And then we're going to have Nick Caban coming on and sharing with us about his recent success with the ILC leads. I don't know if it's recent, but it seems recent because I've been seeing a lot of them, a lot of his names. So we're going to learn a little bit from these two guys. Oscar, are you on? See Oscar?
Yes. I'm here.
Perfect. There you go. Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time to join us. Just want to have you on because you just made your first annuity sale. Great job.
Congrats, brother.
All right. So first of all, just walk us through, like, how did you find this opportunity? What was your next steps? All that stuff. Kind of give us the intro of that.
Well, honestly, I just asking about some life insurance if she had on place, because I had an annuity on my license since May, but honestly, I'm not asking the goal question, but the money. But with the life insurance question, she came out, oh yeah, I have life insurance that I made a lump sum premium, just one premium. Oh yeah, for how much was it? When my husband died, I got $100,000 check, so I put $70,000 in this one premium life insurance, and I said, well, that's kind of like it's a lot of money, right? So how much is the coverage? And she came out with the policy. And I see that the policy is not going very well. She's supposed to have a lot of money in there, but it's it was from the 4.5%. The last statement say 2.5. So from the 70,000 after 13 years, she having like and the cash or surrender value is only like 81,000. So she only earned like 11,000 in 13 years.
Wow. So just to recap for everybody, I mean, that it was a single premium life insurance. It was supposed to build up some cash value. That's actually the first of the kind that I've actually worked with.
Participating whole life or what?
It was just single premium whole life.
Wow.
So you know, Oscar actually just said, like, hey, he gave me a call and said, hey, can we do anything about this? And I'm like every expert says, I'm like, I have no idea, but let's find out. You know, so you know, we ended up looking around, doing a little bit of research, and I was like, let her know, yeah, we could do something with it. And then, you know, we went back and forth a couple of times, and then got it done. So can you just tell everyone, like, how did you get a hold of this lady in the first place? How were you first introduced to her?
Well, it comes one from different sources of leads that I purchased.
It's a lead, right?
Huh?
It was for a life insurance lead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we come across that she got a policy on her. She want a policy for her brother who has kind of like a stroke or something.
Yeah.
And we finally got some coverage for her brother, and obviously it's gonna be modified, but anyways, it's good, something better than nothing. And
right.
And she come out saying that about her policy, and I said, well, you know what, that's kind of weird. I never hear about one lump sum premium like for a whole life, like you said. And she come out with the papers, and I reviewed the papers, and I that's when I call you, and I said, well, I think we can do something better than this, because if you don't touch this money for 30 years, that's her retirement plan, and with the annuity she get better rates and everything.
Yeah, and I just want to be very clear about that. Like, it's not, you can't roll over most life insurance policies that way. This was a single premium life insurance policy. She got it mainly for the death benefit. She thought there was going to be some cash value that accumulates over the course of time, which it did, just a very small amount. And then if you're going to roll one product into another, first of all, it has to benefit the client. So the thing is, if it's going to not provide as much, and then they're taking a decline, it's not going to pass suitability. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, I've obviously had Oscar ask her, hey, what's the main goal of this thing? Are you looking mainly for the death benefit? Are you looking for cash value accumulation? What's your priority in this? So she said she wanted some death benefit, but she wanted her money to have an opportunity to grow. So then at that point, I'm like, okay, this should work. So we do a rollover. The accumulation, the upside potential for that is much higher than an annuity. Also, it'll have a death benefit. That's, if that's her main concern. Excuse me. I wanted to make sure that we didn't take that component away from her. So everything worked out. Once we figured out what it was, what we were able to do for her, then we ran a couple illustrations, double checked with Oscar, make sure he got all his training done. So you had your training done before you went back to her, right?
Yeah, you told me a little bit about the how to explain the illustration and all that, and
yep.
Because she only speaks Spanish, so I was kind of like doing a translator, even if I don't speak it a lot of it, right. A lot of English. But she said that she wanted to meet with her sister, her daughter, to be present, and the daughter was kind of like confirming everything you're saying and everything that I explained to her. Translate. She's just moving her head, like, yeah, she's basically saying the same thing.
Right. Have you done a lot of presentations in the past where you translate, where someone presents and you translate? It's the first time for you too?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I mean, thank you for your help. It's incredible, man. How do you explain to her? I translate to her with the tablet in front of her, and everybody was making like understanding.
Right. Well, no, you did a great job of actually going through and translating it afterwards, because I've done a lot of these where I've had agents help me with Spanish speakers, and then I'll present, then I'll wait for I'll wait for the agent to translate, wait till the client responds, and then I'll be like, what did she say, or what did they say? And then, go back and forth. So the thing is, I've had a little bit of experience, but you had it like a real natural, and you did a great job.
Thank you, man.
All right. Now the daughter was there too, because she had a lot of questions. So she was able to ask a few questions, and she spoke English. So then that made things a little easier to get buy-in from her. So then by the time we were done presenting, she was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially the downside protection, she loved it.
Yeah. Now, how was the application process for you? Because this was your first application, obviously. So how did you manage through that? Hope you're enjoying the video so far. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, anything to help support the algorithm, so we can continue to bring you more valuable content and continue to be part of your lives. Also, if you don't feel that it's providing you that much support since you're already at this point, like and subscribe anyway.
Well, I get so nervous that I probably can make mistakes, because this is my first application for annuities. Mm-hmm. But after you say, don't worry, that's the side to make the mistakes. We're gonna have a team who review this application before we send it to the carrier. That way it's gonna be easier for you. And man, I thought that the team with the AMS will be more like rude. When you call like a service provider.
Service, yeah.
I was thinking they're gonna be rude, but no, they're super nice. Charlotte and the other lady, I don't remember her name. Super nice.
Charlotte, Bridget, and Lauren.
Lauren, yeah. They're all sweethearts over there.
Yeah.
Yes, man. I want to do more annuities then. You get happy when you just see some people like in my situation that is I'm kind of like nervous talking English, but they super sweet.
Yeah. They are. They're super, super helpful. And and then for those of you that have not done an annuity application before, it seems a little daunting for a lot of people, because the thing is, obviously it's a new thing, and they just think maybe this is too far above my head and I haven't experienced this yet. But with all the people that I've helped along the way, I think I've had quite a few people that say like, oh, can you just stay on with me and do we do the application together? Or they'll be like, can I just pay you to do the application? And then they'll like, I'll give you a split or
I'll give you a
whatever.
higher split.
And I'm always like, no. Right? Number one is because I'm like, if I do it, which I have no problem doing it, but then the thing is, how will you learn how to do it? So you got to go through that process. And with Oscar, we actually did prepare ahead of time, put together the illustration. I knew that the client spoke primarily Spanish, so then we wanted to prep him in advance. So we did the illustration, sent it to Oscar. I reviewed within the basic beats, and I said, like, here's how this works. Here's how you're going to explain this part. Here's how you're going to explain this part. Here's how this page look, what the breakdown is. And then we got to the point where I was like, all right, did you sign up for FFLAMS.com yet? And then he said no. And I'm like, all right, so you can register for this part, because you're going to do the entire application through there rather than do the application on the Athene site. Because if you do it through the Athene site, it goes directly to them. And in which it goes, we've had dinner with Jay not too long ago, or Jay Rosencrantz, the account executive for Athene. So, he was talking about the majority of the applications that come back not in good order, which means the agent made a mistake or they forgot some stuff. Almost all of it comes from people that do it on their own, not using the FFL AMS site, not using their app review part.
And it takes longer too.
Yes.
So if you do an annuity, you do the Firelight through AMS. Charlotte is the assistant to Lauren. So Lauren and Charlotte will review that within usually 24 hours.
Yep.
So if they review it and it passes their suitability, they tell you, okay, submit it. We're going to send it directly to Athene. Once they send it, your policy gets issued within a few days. Right. Whereas if you would have done it with Athene, then Athene will then come back to you and FFL AMS saying, hey, this policy is not issued right, or there's a suitability issue. Now you got to follow up with them. You got to fix it. You email it back to Athene. Athene will respond within like 3 to 7 days.
Like 3 to 7 months.
And it's a lot more to explain, to be like, oh, this is actually what I meant. And they're like, well, now you got to show proof. You got to do this. You got to do that. So it's a lot more hoops to jump through if you go directly through the Firelight site instead of having someone scrub the application like the AMS site.
Yeah.
So highly recommend. Actually, I would only recommend.
Yes. Yeah. Especially signatures, because signatures, I made a mistake on one recently. And what they did is you just go to Firelight app, you copy the whole entire thing, fix it. They delete the old one, or they reject the old one. You make the new one and then do the signatures. If you would have submitted to Athene, which something did happen to Athene, I had to do it again. Now they want new signatures. So they need new signatures with the correction, with the new dates. And it's a mess.
Right. And look, I know what I'm doing. And I still messed up. So then we went back and forth. And the thing is, like, every time I called a new rep, it was someone else. And then I'd have to walk them through the whole scenario again. It was just so much more work than it really needs to be. So use FFL AMS. One other thing, if you go directly through Firelight, through the carrier, if you have too many not in good order applications, meaning that you made a mistake, something was missing, whatever it is, and you have to go back and forth, they'll actually terminate you.
Oh, shoot. I didn't know that.
So just a pro tip right there. Make sure you go through the FFL site. I always recommend it. Plus, I love the feeling of just telling guys like Oscar, I know it's your first app, because everyone's thinking like, what if I make a mistake? What if I miss stuff? What if I answer something wrong? And whatever the case is, I'm like, don't worry about making any mistakes. Lauren and Charlotte and all of them are great over there. They're going to scrub the entire application. They're going to come back to you with edits and be like, you need to fix this, and that, or they're going to tell you everything's good to go. And they'll send it out. So use that resource. It's a tremendous resource. I don't know why people wouldn't use it.
Right.
If you're trying to skip that step, you're actually potentially hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So my piece of advice. So going back to that application, Oscar. So as you're navigating through, I mean, like, what was it really foreign? I mean, you were texting me throughout, you were calling me throughout. So how did you navigate through? Like, how did you feel as you were doing it?
Well, it's something new, you get nervous, but it's kind of like, I know I have you. Yes, I know I have you behind the other line, the phone, even you don't walk me through the entire application. When I get stuck, I just send you how many, like 20, 25 pictures
at least.
That's awesome.
which is cool.
Yeah, and I say, you know what, man, this is tremendous help. I mean, if I know this is gonna be like this, I probably actually I'm doing it now, asking everybody who has some money on the side, you know, for 1K sitting in the bank. Just man, I'm happy for it. I'm happy for it. Thank you, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you know, I mean, what I did around the presentation, around the illustration for you, and I said, go and book appointment. Let's set up a time. We'll go back and present to her. And then, of course, she said she was available on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and I was like, oh man, I wanted to go out. But you know, that's the thing. Like, even with an annuity presentation like that, the thing is, I was still on my way out. I was just gonna walk you through the presentation. I don't really need to look at everything because I already know what I'm doing. You're going to do the application anyway, so it's not like I need to do the application as I'm driving. So then I was just like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. And was there a lot of questions? Yes. I mean, you did keep coming back and forth with text messages, but I was telling John and Joanne earlier, I'm like, if someone's genuinely trying to learn, the thing is, if I don't help this person right now, he won't know how to do it for one. So he's not going to continue to look for these opportunities. It's going to limit his ability to be able to generate income. But more importantly, if I don't teach him now, he's going to continue to ask me more questions.
Yeah.
And he's going to ask me the same questions. So I'd rather be a little bit more thorough at this moment, spend a little bit extra time, make sure that you learn how to do it. And the next one you do, will you not have any questions? Probably not. You're still probably going to ask me some questions, and that's perfectly fine. But it's a process of learning. And that's the thing we all need to understand. You're not going to pick everything up immediately the first time. It's just going to be something you get over gradually over time. You let people make mistakes, which is what I tried to allow you to do. And then just be a resource. And I'm very happy for you because we just got an email this morning from Athene. Suitability is cleared. Now he's got to transfer the money, and then Oscar gets paid.
Nice. Nice.
You know what? Well, go ahead.
No, please.
I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for her. I don't even have a clue how much I make. I know I get some cut. But honestly, I don't even ask you how much is gonna be my commission, right? But
you didn't. No.
I'm so happy that she made that move from that money to this annuity. That the numbers gonna be helping her and her retirement so better than what she got.
Right.
And that's a feeling that you feel like it's worth it doing what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, and just looking at her statement that she sent over, the thing is, well, when we compared it against the illustration that we ran, the thing was, I was like, it was no comparison. It was just like, why wouldn't someone do this? And the thing is, even if for some reason the bottom fell out of this one,
yeah,
she's not going to have less money than she had before. Like she's with the bonus, she's already going to have more. It's just definitely going to put her in a better position. So yeah, you're right. It did feel awesome. It felt great for her. Did she have any other comments, or her daughter say anything about the plan?
Oh, just say next time come with some pizza. Because the last time that I go for her signature after the correction with the Charlotte and everything, I go back to the house, and when I was knocking at the door, the pizza guy come out. I mean, it was delivering some pizza, and he say, "Hey, are you living here?" And I said, "No, I'm just here for another reason." Oh, okay. So we eat pizza, and she said, "Well, next time you bring the pizza."
That's a lifelong relationship that's formed
great.
right there. So that's awesome, Oscar. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your first experience, because these are always one of the most exciting calls for me to see someone else, never having done an annuity, not knowing much about an annuity, now getting your first one on your belt. This means many more opportunities going forward.
Yes. And I encourage everybody to just ask questions to you. I mean, don't be afraid. I was thinking like, Albert's super busy. Maybe he don't answer my phone calls and something like that. No, that's not like that. It's not like that. Just call me.
I mean, in fairness, sometimes I am busy with stuff, but the thing is, this is my job.
Yeah.
So
it's your business, and it's our business to take care of you. Right.
So I take it seriously. So the thing is, if if I'm not available, I'll make myself available. If I'm not able to take it right that moment, like I will always respond back and be like, "Hey, let me call you back in 5 minutes or whatever it is."
Yeah.
So you guys experience the same, right?
Yeah, we have. In fact, I mean, something I want to mention just to back up what Oscar said, the availability that you always have, and John, the open door policy it gives you the comfy feeling, that you if you messed up or if you have questions, somebody's gonna help you out. I mean, I've come to you guys many, many times, and you all guys always give me an answer. I never walked out of the office like, what was that? Or they didn't know. You guys always give me an answer, and that's always been very helpful. So, like Oscar said, you guys have any questions, if you are working on your first deal, pick up the phone, and contact, whomever. I mean, because that's another thing. I mean, we learn it from you now, to help others. So it makes you, want to help everybody else the same way.
It's awesome. Well, I mean, I definitely see you helping your team out. So I mean, I'm glad if I don't think that came from me, but if that helps.
Oh yeah, it definitely helps. Yeah, because you gotta follow the leader.
I'll take it.
Like the song.
Hey, what I do is, I always pick up too, but then if I can't, I just text back saying, "Text Albert." Busy right now, playing basketball. Text Albert.
which is that's perfectly fine. The thing is, you still want agents to be in a position, or people that someone that needs help, to reach out, and then like there's no response.
You're right.
So if you're busy, that's okay. Like you don't expect everyone to be available all the time, but just redirect them somewhere else.
Yeah. And just to let you know, just be aware, if you happen to send a text message to John, he's kind of sarcastic. So sometimes he sends a text message to kind of funny, and you looked at it and just know that it's a joke. He's that way. He's like a clown.
It's
Don't
a
worry
joke,
about it.
or is it?
Or is it not?
But going back to that annuity, if you guys are running into that, I learned a good line from David Ayer from FFL Paradise. He did one annuity, and he had a client that showed an old policy, whether it's a single premium whole life or it's an old annuity from a different carrier that's been there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in your situation. He made a good analogy. He said, this is a good vehicle, but think of it just like your vehicle, your car, right? Your car still runs, whether it's 10 years or 20 years down the road, but new cars now, new vehicles, new investment vehicles have new features.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a good one, but there's a better car that runs faster, it's stronger, it accumulates more, it has better indexing. This is what we can show you. So you're not saying anything like out of over the top where it's going to be overcomplicated and technical. You just tell them, we have a better plan for you. We have a better vehicle for you.
It must be a
Let's
Honda.
set up there you go. Let's set up a new appointment. I'm going to come back. I'm going to explain how that works. So you simplify it.
Let's get you in the Rolls Royce.
There you go. I saw that one the news. You seen that one with the Rolls Royce? It was in downtown LA. Someone was chasing a Rolls Royce and they got away.
Really?
Yeah.
That's another
live chase.
I mean, if Rolls Royces made commercials, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Get away from the cops, commit whatever crime you
got away with it. New vehicle.
But before I let you go, Oscar, one last thing. For your advice for anyone that has not done annuities yet, who thinks it might be too complicated, how would you recommend for them to start, and what should they do on the next steps?
What are gonna do next?
What should they do if someone's brand new to this? They've never done an annuity, but they want to do one. What would you tell them to look out for? What would you tell them to? What would be your suggestions for them to get going?
Well, first of all, just call you and say, okay, this is a situation. What I have to do, like what I did, right? Obviously, find the money first. If there's money, there's some money sitting in the bank or in a 401k, wherever. If you can find a better vehicle for, like John saying, for these people, just trying to be very careful with the money, because if you don't know, you don't want to feel like I know everything, and then people come with questions and you feel kind of like stupid. I'm sorry for the word, but honestly, I say to this lady, you know what? I know I can do this. I have the authority, but I never done it. Let me call the person who can help me and to answer all the questions you may have to better protect your money. and just call Albert. Albert told me, okay, you have to do this. You have to do this with a team. Get in contact with I think I don't know if it was Joanne or somebody else who told me go to the website, the Red Bridget, to get some training.
For the training.
To get some training that is required to get this team, because I'm being in contact with a team for months, but I never done it, so I never see the need to get another training, and I did. It's super easy. And after you done it, you call the AMS for the contracting. If everything's good, you're good to go.
Cool. Well, real simple, practical advice. So, Oscar, appreciate you. Real happy for you. By the way, the commission is going to be whatever the rollover amount is. You depending on where you are production wise, lifetime for annuities. It's anywhere between 5 and 9%. Is that the highest?
8 to 9, yeah, top guys. But yeah, you should expect
you get 5. You get roughly about 5% of whatever the rollover amount is. So you can do the math.
Yeah, whatever you roll between 5.25, you're gonna see that in a few weeks.
Yep.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I mean, obviously, it's good the money, but it's good to help people better.
Love it.
That's right.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Congrats.
Well, you deserve it. So
Congratulations.
Appreciate you, Oscar.
Thank you.
All right. Good story. I'm really happy with those.
First one, huh?
Yeah.
I like that. You made a believer out of Oscar.
You what?
You made him a believer.
I'll take it. Yeah. Speaking of other success stories, we got Nick Caban. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Nick,
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, Nick?
brother?
Good,
Representing
good.
in the background, huh?
Yeah. I actually had this saved from when I used to do virtual.
Okay.
Yeah. What's going on? It's I appreciate you guys inviting me out here.
No, definitely.
So I'm assuming this is regarding to the recent ILC leads. So yeah, I'll just kind of get started ahead of time. My name is Nick. It's nice to meet you guys. For any of you I haven't met, I started with FFL about a year ago in March. I had pretty successful last year. Stopped when I made my transition because I moved down to Florida. So just a lot of stuff's happened in the last year. But I got back into it once I started doing telesales because I no longer was able to start doing in-homes. I kind of switched up my whole process. So I was a little nervous to start, and then I just honestly had to jump. Just to give you an idea, I was running silvers and golds to start out. I've moved up to titanium, but just to kind of give you structure. So there's a lot of things.
If I can interrupt you real quick, Nick. I mean, could you just tell everyone, break down what's silver, gold, bronze, titanium?
Oh yeah, man, for sure, of course. So silver leads are going to be normally the cheaper end of internet requests that are put through online. So the ILC, the gateway where we all purchase our leads for FFL. Normally you'll see them in the internet section if they're not obviously bought up. Normally you'll always have titanium, diamonds. There's tons of them. So that's the cool part about it, is a surplus. So really you'll never have an issue with volume, really just kind of gathering your own numbers, because a lot of times with certain 1 months or whatever other type of mortgage lead you like to run, there's going to be a volume issue sometimes where you're not going to be able to consistently do the same amount every single week. So when it comes to these leads, there's a surplus. It's really just about hard work in the end of the day, because obviously these people have been called before. So if you're going to buy a silver lead, that's going to be about a month and a half to 2 months old. And then if anywhere from gold, we're looking about 3 to 4 weeks. And then for titaniums right now, I think we're at I think that's a week old lead or 2 weeks old lead. So I've been trying to test each one out. Currently, I have a higher closing ratio running titaniums, but I believe no matter which one you buy, you should always buy a minimum of at least 120 to 150 every week and a half to, I'd say, probably do that twice a week if you're actually selling at a high rate. Obviously, you're going to have to put in around 200 dials minimum to get around 10 contacts on average. If depending on your skill level, you're just going to have to close, I'd say, around maybe 3 out of every 10. And you'll get your money back. The cool part about silvers and like golds and like the internet leads is you don't have to invest a lot. So just to give you an idea of an investment, last week's investment, I put in 676, and then over the weekend another 875. So if I was to do that, just do the dollar for you guys total for anybody that's starting off new. I know that sounds like a lot. But so $1,500 investment, I made back 8,728p off of that. So I try to tell people it's definitely worth it to invest into the like cheaper leads because you'll get a lot bigger ROI. It's a lot bigger of a gap for that. But you obviously have to stay consistent the entire time, and you have to keep buying leads. You know, you got to keep the cycle going. The engine has to keep running. You know.
So about 1,500 to help 8 families.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. About 1,500. I'd say you should be putting about every week to a week and a half into helping families.
Awesome.
What's your hours like now? You moved to Florida, so I'm assuming you're doing telesales. You're doing multiple states.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. So I just got applied for my Michigan license, but I was just Rhode Island, Florida. So to be honest, I've just been buying Rhode Island and Florida internet leads. And I was a little nervous to call to close. So I reached out to a couple people in the industry, like Wiley Hawkins. Is a huge help to me. He sent me a couple of voice notes and then kind of let me know the system he was running, the hours expected out of his team. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. So I kind of practiced and implemented the same system of where I start at around, obviously you want to be on by 8 to catch people on their way to work. If not, 9 o'clock's when I've been kind of getting on just because I take care of a lot of stuff in the morning time. Also, we just had a huge hurricane, so I was cleaning up debris yesterday and then kind of sandbagging the house. So I'd say be on by 8, take your break around like 1 o'clock, because that's normally when people are taking their lunch break, and then get back on the phones. And then I dial till 8 at night. Sometimes you'll see me on till 9 at night, because I'll be honest, I don't go out on Friday nights. I don't do anything on the weekends unless I'm seeing my son. So it's either I'm working out, I'm either eating or working. So I believe 100% in like probably putting in at least 8 hours in a day. Yeah.
And man about his business. And I know this is true because I'm out here in the West Coast. Sometimes you're still posting because you'll post about the day when you have some success, when you help a family out. And then you're on all day on the live dials with Drew Martin too, right?
Yeah, me and Drew go back and forth. He's an animal too. So we kind of that's a good thing too. And when you start getting like kind of a couple closes under your belt, find somebody on your team that you can get competitive with. That way you have like a kind of, because discipline obviously is going to come in behind when motivation fails you. But if you have somebody to kind of remotivate you on your team and get you back on track and be like, hey, bro, I saw you were killing it yesterday. You haven't hopped on till 10 today. Have an accountability partner is really great, man. So like, honestly, I count on Drew to excel that way. I can push myself to be like, no, I got to get another one. So we try to protect as many families a week as possible. And yeah, we're always on till late.
Yeah. So how did that start? I mean, obviously Drew's been doing really well. You know, he's generating some of his own ads. You know, we get to see him once in a while. So how did that dynamic start? Did you guys say like, hey, let's get live dials together?
Yeah, so technically, I mean, I had a previous manager, Michael Hutchinson was my previous upline, and there was just a disconnect, I'll say. So at that point, I just wanted to still make sure that obviously since I had made my transition down to Florida, I wanted to kind of learn from people who were already called to closing, and Drew seemed to kind of have like that already like locked in. He was working TikTok leads and doing everything call to close. I had no issue closing in the home, but I was so nervous to just like ask for somebody's bank information, stuff like that over the phone. And the next thing I know, I saw him close like 2 in a day. I was like, yeah, I'm getting out there. So then at that point, it's just about running the script and then a couple tests go through, and then tracking your numbers, of course, just to kind of see where you need to be.
Yeah. So that is actually one of the biggest challenges or biggest hurdles, at least mentally, for a lot of agents.
Yeah.
So as far as collecting a bank account information, I mean, that's everyone's initial. They're like, people give you their bank account over the phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
These old people.
how did you overcome that?
I found like a lot of helpful tips and tricks kind of because those are all going to be really smoke screens at the end of the day that people are going to toss up to kind of think about it or whatever. So if you can kind of eliminate them ahead of time and hey, by the way, as soon as you've already confirmed their birthday, I normally am texting over my license, but there's a part in the script that's like, go ahead, grab a pen and paper so we can get this knocked out real quick. And then on the pen and paper, some people are quick with it. They'll be like, okay, I'm ready. And I'm like, oh, you got it already? Okay. And I was trying to type their phone number out to text over my license. So I'll be like, write out NIPR.com. That's going to be the National Registry for Agents. That way you can verify I'm an active agent in your state. It's a lot of weirdos out there nowadays. So I just want you to make sure you know who you're talking to. And then at that point, just so I can make sure they're not lying to me, I'm going to be like, go ahead, check your text messages. I want you to actually read out the license number to me. That way I can verify you got it. And then at that point, I have them reading out the license number back to me. Perfect. I've already gone kind of through the affordability or eligibility after a couple more steps in the script. And that kind of helps me eliminate whether they were just getting declined or whether it was just somebody not pitching at the right price. And at that point, because I don't like to waste anybody's time, especially mine. So I found out that if you can kind of get 3/4 through the script, you'll weed out the people who are serious and who aren't, and you will only end up in an application with people who are serious about getting insurance. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of a cool tip also, because I think a lot of times people are thinking, well, if I'm gonna text them my license number or your picture of your license, sometimes people may try to skip over that. An agent may try to skip it because they're trying to save time and they're not trying to they think the client's not gonna have patience for it. But what about if you do an Americo app or you do a Prosperity app, the signature is going to come up via text anyway. So like if they're not willing to go through that part, how can you trust that they're going to do the rest of it?
Yeah, 100%. And I just feel like if you can confirm validity with that, at that point, I've never really had an issue when it comes back to like, it's for your medical obviously it's about how you phrase certain questions too, but for your medical records, what's your social security number? Obviously, you don't have a cracky voice. You're confident. You have conviction in what you say. They're going to give it to you. There should never be an issue. And if there is, you can let them know ahead of time. They have your business social security basically to track you, make sure you're an active agent in the state. If you want, you can walk them through it right now. I've done it with people on NIPR when they've gotten to banking. And I won't lie, I have had some pushback still. But as soon as I get there, I'll just tell them right now, go ahead, go on that website I just had you write down. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to have you type in and I'll guide them right through it. You see that license number? That's me. Perfect. Okay. And then I said, any other objections? I'll literally put them on the spot. Any other reason why you don't want to make this decision today? No, I just had to make sure. Okay, I get it. I completely understand. So go ahead with the account number when you're ready. So, and then it's just at that point, it's just going back into this, like protecting the family, So, yeah. And also obviously when you ask for banking, you guys normally bank with a credit union. It's just a bank. It's just how you phrase it. I feel like that's why I feel like you won't get as much pushback with that. But yeah, sending the licenses, you can't skip that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of times people don't recognize the best way to overcome an objection is try to eliminate it from coming up in the first place.
Right.
So how you set the table, how you preface things, that'll help, make the client feel comfortable enough. And then, if you direct the flow of the conversation, then it has a lot less objections come up.
Yeah, for people that transitioned, Nick, from the field to the phones, to the telesales, what was something new that you didn't have before, didn't know until you got something from like Wiley?
It's a good question.
What was tripping you up before then?
I would say that honestly, it was just the script. It was my initial script was I was set up for in-home, and then even the initial telesales script that I had running, I just wasn't a believer in it. And then I used a different script, and it was just to the point. It hit kind of every like why and reason ahead of time. I remember when I got my first sale, I was like, wow, that took like 25 minutes. And that was so fast for me. And I was like, that's insane. I can't believe I just got through the whole script and a sale. And like everything was actually like checked off reasons why. They 100% knew why they wanted to keep the policy. We built rapport, like we had the beneficiary established, everything. So affordability and it was just, I was surprised. So at that point, it was just kind of the belief for me, because it's the same thing that you'll realize when you do call the closes, that you're literally skipping the part of booking the appointment and just getting straight into it with them. And if I didn't catch you guys at work, right? No. Okay, perfect. Just making sure. So obviously I want you to grab a pen and paper real fast so we can get this knocked out real quick. Okay. And if they do, then obviously you got a family protected. And then obviously they're on track, to go through the application with you. And if not, well, they were never going to get protected anyway. So you're just getting the nose out of the way, which you should be chasing the nose anyway, so that you don't get let down if you get told no.
Yeah, so I think for new agents coming into the telesales, what you're emphasizing more is a lot of the filtering process. If this is a qualified sale, versus selling everyone that you're finally going to pick up on, right?
I think a lot of issue is like people get into the applications and then they're like, oh, I don't know fully what to do once I get into the application, because the script that I had originally set up for in-home. So I was like, I don't know where to go from here if I'm doing it right. And then I saw it was so much simpler than it had. Like I was making it out to be way more than it had to be. And then I watched a couple sales that Easton Patton did online too, some virtual sales, and I'm watching his processes quick, and Zach Trudowski. I started to notice people were closing quick. Even people on Julian's team, like Chris Lee and stuff. Like he had done the telesales for a while, and I was sitting in on theirs, just listening to them, just to see, like, because I was like, you guys are literally, you've only been here for a couple of months, and you guys all call it close. I've been here for a year. I killed it last year, and I think honestly I could do this if I just see it done, and then I see it done, and I'm like, is this really all? And then I just had to just call and actually believe in it, enough to actually go through the script. And I'll be honest, like as long as you get through the script with them, normally call to close is so much easier now. At one point I was like so gung ho for in homes, but now that I think about all the gas wasted, all the time wasted from no shows and stuff, it's so much more effective to get into call to close. And you save a lot more money technically, because you're not driving everywhere and wasting days sometimes with no sale under your belt. And with this, it's just the numbers game every single day. As long as you hit the exact numbers and track your numbers, get the right amount of contacts and the right amount of in front of the right amount of people, you'll always close. I mean, depending on your skill level, obviously you're gonna have to. But if you're new, like coming in, I've seen people, like I closed my first sale like within like 3 days of just testing the script out. So it's like, dude, you just gotta take the jump and do it anyway. Like whether it's uncomfortable or not, that you just gotta do it, because I was so nervous about jumping into telesales, and the next thing I know, my bills hit and I was broke and my stomach hurt. And I'm like, man, I gotta make a change. So you just gotta do it. So
well, I definitely want to touch on that point. You made some really good points there. Misha, you had something you wanted to
share? Something that I wanted to mention is just the way you talk. I mean, if you are talking to people in the exact same tone of voice that you're doing right now, I actually can see why you are successful, because you sound very calm and you deliver the information very well. And if you're using the script, using that tone of voice, man, you can close any door. In reality, so yeah, and the script is key. You gotta learn it. You make it your own. You speak on your own, tonality. Yeah, I can see why you're doing good. So congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
I agree. I mean, the point I wanted to touch on about what you just said, I believe you can get a lot more done if you go the telesale route anyway. If you go the telesale virtual route, you can effectively get to every single state.
Yep.
You can effectively, you brought in your entire base of the available leads.
Mm-hmm.
It's always gonna be in abundance. Now the thing is, this is not one size fits all for everybody. It's not gonna be like, hey, everyone should just automatically hop into it. If you're not investing into enough leads, if you don't have, you don't have various states for your license, you might just need to go in person. Because I think if you have a limited number of resources, a limited number of leads, your closing ratio probably will be higher. The transition the learning curve will be a little bit lower. You'll be able to get it faster by going in person face to face. So you got to cut your teeth, start with that.
Mhm.
Now, once you get to the point where you feel comfortable enough, you've mastered that part, and then you want to be able to not have to drive around as much. You want to, you know, your skills have been honed a little bit more. At that point, what you're going to do is you can start purchasing additional states. You can go in the ILC. That's always a great place, which we're going to touch on that a little bit more. But I think with the ILC, I mean, it's the quickest way to get a ton of leads, and then you'll be able to expand your business. Okay. So going back to the ILC real quick, Nick. Is this the only lead source you're using right now, or are you kind of mixing things up?
So I recently just started, like this last week was the trial and error kind of for TikTok leads, because Drew started this system and I decided to kind of buy into it per se, just to test it out. Because obviously he's had a lot of success from it too, and I believe in opening different streams. Obviously the ILC is great, but if I can get another stream for leads, I'd like to do that. So yeah, but the ILC is technically all I buy for leads. Obviously, I believe in referrals and the 5-foot rule. Somebody's eat with them or stand in line, strike a conversation, either hire them or sell them. So like in the end of the day, like not all of them are for ILC, but all my leads I purchase from ILC. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So as far as TikTok ads, are you starting to generate your own content? I mean, what's your strategy?
So there's an ad campaign, and then you pay for it daily, and then it'll generate lead overnight, and then you just reach out to them in the morning time. So yeah. So, but it's kind of hard with the ratio just because of how much it's costing right now. Because I only have a couple states. So I think that's the issue. I need to get more states involved, so that it can be less spend per lead at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the ILC because I think a lot of times people ask, like, where should I start with leads? You know, what should I get? You know, we're trying different lead campaigns, different sources, and you know, sometimes they're great and sometimes they're a little bit up and down.
I'll be honest. I believe 100% it's a numbers game with ILC. I've done silvers, golds, titaniums, 1 month final expense, 1 month mortgage, 2 month, 3 month mortgage. Sold them all. Like I believe 100% though that if like you're going to be called to closing, you should be running internet leads. That's just like my opinion. So based off mine.
And when it comes to the leads, especially with when somebody's new, a lot of people don't want to buy leads because they feel that they're broke. So I don't have any money. I'm not sure that I gotta pay my bills. But that is the moment when you gotta say, man, I gotta buy the leads. I mean, you buy the leads are gonna give you enough income to buy more leads and then pay your monthly expenses. So I even tell that to the people in my team, you gotta buy leads. The leads is the solution to everything. You know.
No, it hurts to spend. It hurts to spend sometimes, every time, like, to be honest. So I mean, nobody likes spending $600, $900 and then being like, oh, and then like, I'm gonna get that back. Like, you just gotta have conviction in your
there you go.
like,
Exactly.
be confident in your skill, you know, like, and know that you've done it before, so you're gonna do it again. And if it's a numbers game, you should, at that point, that makes you a little bit more comfortable to kind of reinvest into the system when you've seen it proven. And it's like, dude, I know I did it last week. I have confidence to sell again. I just need to get back out there, or else my bills are going to catch up to me. So
that's right.
And that's a good point, though. I mean, it hurts to spend, but it hurts even more to stay broke.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, how do you get out of that situation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So, as far as ILC, is that something that you plan to continue to stick on? You plan to diversify out?
I've been running ILC for about a year now. I plan on actually trying to develop a system for titanium strictly, to where I can just sell off of call to close until I open up to more states, and then I plan to do live transfers once I have more states under my belt, and that way I can run in the morning times, normally when people are already at work, from like 9 to like 1 p.m. ish. I could run live transfers, and then after that I could finish up my round of dials with my titaniums. That way I can guarantee success, because obviously live transfers are going to be the best way to guarantee somebody wanting life insurance and getting in front of them. And if you're a good closer, you should just be doing live transfers after a certain point, not just live transfers either, but you should definitely be incorporating them, I believe, because I've seen so many people have success, and I'm like just waiting to get my states slowly one a week until I can get into live transfers. So,
Yeah, and for those
not just ILC.
that are new on the call, I mean, I don't know if you guys caught what he just said. He is actually following the schedule, right? And then he's again, I mean, by what you just described, you are coming out with a schedule with a time that is non-negotiable for anything else.
Oh yeah, no, no matter what, yeah.
So and that's
too,
it. So. Yeah, that's another thing that I mean, good job that you're doing that, and for everybody else out there, I mean, you gotta follow schedule and follow your schedule.
I think if you have a why that's powerful enough, though, and you have like a real reason behind like why you're going to work every day, because I got real stuff going on in my life, just like a lot of people, I feel like. So initially, showing up for yourself and showing up for your family and showing up for your goals, like is initially really what's kind of gonna get you to buy those leads, make that effort style, and like just get past that wall. And there's that quote of like when the fear of right now becomes more than the fear of venturing into the unknown, that's when people actually change. So obviously your current situation has to get uncomfortable enough to force you, or you can force yourself. So I don't want to wait for that uncomfortable situation. I'd prefer to force myself before that happens.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's real refreshing to hear, because I think a lot of times we get people that doubt it because it didn't work out from the first time around, and they only bought like 20 leads, 10 leads, whatever it is. And I'm like, what do you expect to happen in that situation? So I think it's great to hear. I mean, we've had plenty of people come on saying like all they worked is ILC. You still work ILC.
Yeah.
I mean, and plus here's also the thing. If ILC is readily available, it's abundantly available. So any state that you want to go to, you can just go into ILC, purchase a bunch of leads. If you commit to a schedule like Nick does, or if you're in a position where financially you need to change it, you need to build it a certain way, and you're willing to put in the time, but you don't have quite the schedule, devote a certain number of hours, buy enough ILC leads, and just keep yourself busy. Just call through them. There's other things out there like, you can start a lead campaign. You can try to generate your own leads. You can do all that stuff. And I'm not saying not to. You should diversify 100%. But the thing is, if you're solely depending on live transfers or whatever it may be, you might be sitting around for a very long time because leads are not coming in and you're lacking. So the thing is, all that time you're sitting around with that idle downtime, you're not making any money. There's no opportunity for you to change your financial situation. If you buy ILC leads, you control the quantity, the amount of time that you put into it, the number of calls. You put yourself back into control. So if you ever have any downtime and you really want to make things work, buy some ILC leads.
And you got to also keep in mind that the leads is your inventory. If you got no inventory, there's nothing you can sell. And as long as you remember that this business survives and thrives on leads. So you must buy leads all the time, regardless. Otherwise, you're going to go out of business. You have to buy leads all the time. It's not like, like he just mentioned, I already bought 100 leads last month and then nothing came out of it, but you didn't work the entire week. You got to replenish those 100. I mean, by then.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to
go ahead.
interrupt. I think there's a big expectation that you should also set with these leads too. It's not like you're gonna sell guaranteed every single time for like out of the 10, the ones that you get in front of, right? Because there's so many times that I've had to go back around. Like I do 3 dials per person, and I normally block about 50 leads off to 60 a day. And then I'll hit them again in the morning time for the people that I never reach in the morning time. I hit them in the afternoon. So you got to work your leads properly too, to actually generate like profit from that, or families protected from that. Because if you go through your sheet one time, that's not properly working your leads. Yeah, not even close. I've had sheets that I've held on to from the last week, worked my current sheet, and then kept visiting my old sheet to keep following up with the people I still have yet to make contact with. And I've had sales or family protected for weeks beforehand.
And you got to keep in mind that Elite is an opportunity that we have to talk to somebody. And if you have all the information for that people on that lead that you purchased, I mean, you gotta continue going back to him, and it's like going back and knocking on the door until the guy opens the door.
Yeah.
You know,
Just talk about
Usually
just
until I get told no, or I actually protect the
right?
family,
Until they answer
I'm
the
gonna keep
phone, until
calling.
they tell you to go. You
Red
know,
on my sheet or green on my sheet.
yeah.
right?
You were saying that you want between 100 to 120, right? When you're buying
Yeah.
leads. Talk about the expectations on those numbers from the dials you were calling, the hours you're
Yeah,
calling.
yeah.
The people
I
you're
mean, I don't want to
contacting.
set high hopes for some people just because I've had some pretty high close ratios the last week, which is pretty awesome. I'm super grateful. Appreciate God coming in when I need him. So just to break it down for you guys, out of 193 calls, 15 contacts, I got into one app and one close that day, you know? And then the next day, 205 calls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 contacts, one app, one family protected. One app, one family protected the next day. 3 apps, 2 families protected, and they're all above 200 dials per day.
And
So on
to
average,
make
200 dials, 10 contacts, about 3 to 4 you'll end up in an app with. Lately, I haven't had a person that I end up in an app with that I don't close. It's been pretty crazy last week. So
and to mention another thing that he just did, and I don't know if you guys uh, caught it, tracking.
Yes.
He tracks everything. And when you are tracking your business, you know exactly where you're standing.
Right.
You know exactly how much money you're spending, how much activity, and of course, how much income you're creating. So
yes,
for
sir.
those out there that don't track.
No,
It
you have
takes
to
the
have it.
illusion
Like
out.
it looks kind of great. Well, you can't see it.
There you go. There
This
you
is
go.
my dip sheet, but I have calls to contacts to appoint to apps to families protected. I have it all blocked off in sections so I can mark tallies. Like yesterday, obviously I was doing a little bit of storm cleanup and it was pretty hectic with the hurricane, but 120 calls, 4 contacts, 2 apps, 2 families protected. So like he's saying, if you track your numbers, you'll be able to go back, and also tracking your numbers allows you to see what you need to actually work on skill wise. Like if I have 2 apps and 1 family protected, it's most likely my closing ability. Or if I have 4 contacts, but I didn't get into any apps, well, there's an issue right there, buddy, with your script, and you're not actually transitioning properly. So tracking your numbers is going to help you actually figure out where you need to level up in this industry as well.
Right.
Well, so I mean, obviously there's different breakdowns in between. So 200 calls. Some days you had talked to more people. Some days you talked to less. Some days you had more.
Yeah, I get in conversations for 20, 30 minutes too. That's my issue. Very good at building rapport quick. So like I'll just build a friend and I'll be like, crap, back on track to the script, and then make sure that they either want life insurance. If not, I'm like, okay, I gotta let you go.
Right. So if we want to distill it down to oversimplify and as much as possible, from the sounds of it, you make 200 calls, it'll get you to a sale.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
All
No
right.
matter what.
Good.
So the next time, if you're an agent out there if you're like, oh, I didn't make any sales today, did you make 200 calls? But did you really?
Yeah.
So
no, seriously, yeah.
So any last bit of advice for the rest of the group as far as like if they're reluctant to get on ILC, or if they're reluctant to jump on telesales, any key points that really helped you recently?
Yeah, I think also like it just takes me back to, because in the end of the day, it's nothing crazy, dude. It's literally just the systems implemented. You're just knowing how many leads do I have to buy, how many dials do I have to make, how many people do I have to get in front of, right? So it's just your mindset in the end of the day. And like Wes Watson says, like your success is only a byproduct of your personal development. So if you're not actually like practicing mind, body, spirit, like you could buy the leads, dude. And I believe this solely, and I don't think anybody else is going to tell me different, but if you're not actually taking care of yourself and your mentality, you could buy all the leads in the world and you're not going to close shit. Like, I'll sorry for my language, but it's just you really got to focus on like why you're there. And like in the morning times, like I was talking about it with Drew, but sometimes you got to go to that dark place of like really grinding out like why, like even after like 6 p.m. hits and you've been on and you haven't had a single application, like go through and like you have people hang up on you after you made friends and you made some emotional connections with people. It kind of sucks. So finding your motivation right there. Sometimes you got to use pain as fuel. So for me, I find it that my son doesn't have the life that I want to give him right now. I'm not in the position that I want to be financially right now. So like if I'm not dialing, like for instance, even when I do transitional lead transfers, I feel like a loser when I'm not dialing, dude. Because like I said, Friday nights I don't go out with my friends because my friends like to party, so I don't have friends really anymore. I cut out all those influences. Weekends is for my son, and back on Sunday, back to Friday is just me dialing every single day, trying to keep to the same routine. So you have a routine, you got to develop mind, body, spirit, like get a routine down in the morning time, get your mentality right, then practice rebuttals and like practice pitching with your teammates, then go dial your leads, you know? So like there's a lot to do before you even dial those. But that's what I would leave it with, because there's nothing to be reluctant about, dude. It's just the belief and the conviction behind that. And really it's just confidence, and confidence just comes from keeping your word to yourself and having stacks of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. So just show up for yourself, bro, and actually take the jump. It'll be worth it 100%.
Good.
Any last thing you guys want to share?
Oh,
That's
good.
great.
Good
All right,
job.
well-
Nice system.
Well, yes,
Appreciate that.
absolutely. So thanks to Oscar for coming on and sharing. Nick, thank you very much for coming on.
Appreciate you guys
Sharing.
having me. Yeah.
I love, I'm proud of you, man, not just for your success, but really for your commitment and your tenacity, you know, because I mean, for someone of your age to be that committed, to be able to do what you want to do for your family, for your son. I mean, that's really, really noteworthy. So proud of you, my
Thank
man.
you, sir. Appreciate you guys.
All right. So for
Good
everyone
seeing you
else, I
guys.
mean, hopefully this was helpful. I mean, go apply some of these things, the annuities, ask questions, seek out help. As far as the leads, diversify, make sure you track your numbers. 200 calls lead you to a sale.
There you
That's
go.
the numbers. So let's go be elite, guys.
All
Appreciate
right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys once again for supporting. If you guys want to see more of that, please make sure you like, subscribe, click on this link here to subscribe, click on this link for the next video.